when I started doing what I was doing, my motto was actually boldly different. We have a trademark, patented, like you name it. We have protected that with our lives. Because when I got into real estate, you got to remember, like I came from the aerospace side of things. I moved into my area. I moved there for air traffic. I was an air traffic controller, and I went to go buy a house, and I called the listing sign, and one dude called me back 2 days later. 2 days later. And we're not talking like, I wasn't looking like your median price point house. I was looking like way above, like someone who had that listing blew my mind that it took him 2 days to call me back. I'm like, dude, I'm looking at the top end of the market here. That said, he was the best agent in the area. And so I thought to myself, if I could get in front of people in a day, what if I can get in front of people in 30 minutes? What if I can get in front of people in 5 minutes? The problem is, I wanted a life. There was no way that a lead would come in and I'd be working with someone and be like, hey, no, I got to call somebody. There was no way that would happen. So I use systems to buy my time back, because I think what we've found in this industry is that for the longest time, people are saying, I need more leads. I need more leads. I need more leads. How do I get more leads? How do I get more leads? How do I get more leads? That's the wrong conversation. The wrong conversation is, how do I get in front of these people and get them to trust me? The other part of that conversation is, how do I take these leads and turn them into business? Because we don't get paid following up with leads. We get paid closing transactions. And so a lot of people will say, well, these leads are bad. There's no such thing as a bad lead. It's a lead that doesn't trust you. If someone's putting in Mickey Mouse into your CRM, it's because you have not provided them enough value for them to trade their information for it. So how do you build more value? I tell people this all the time. I taught my coaching clients this: lead with education. That's the simplest way. And the easiest way for you to do that is to take questions that you have gotten, many of you have gotten over years, okay? I dove into this. Like I knew nothing at the time. So I took questions and I polled everybody that I ran into. It was like, hey, what's the most confusing thing for you about real estate? And people were like, oh man, like the appraiser, the inspector, what? Like which one's which? And so I would literally take that information and be like, all right, let's make a video about this. Today we're talking about inspections. Big scary word. Here's how this helps you. Here's what this does for you. And here's what the inspector is actually doing. And so we took that and we would break that down into one video. Then we go appraisal. Everybody freaks out over the appraisal. Let's talk about the appraisal. And we would break that down. When it all came down to it, we had like 130 of these videos that went out in drip format. So think about that for a minute. You start at the very, very beginning, and about every 4 days, you'd have a new video that would go out to them. It wasn't like a, hey, it's a really good time to be in the market right now. If you're thinking about buying or selling, now is the time. I mean, rates are just, and it wasn't that. It was, hey, let me show you why you should work with me. Let me show you what I do. And let me make this in a way that you understand, so that when we actually sit down and have a buyer consult, or we go see houses and I tell you, here's how I look at this house. Here's where I look at this as a number. Here's where I think you should write your offer. I was finding that I wouldn't get people that would be like, oh, $300,000 house, I want to write 220 on it. I wouldn't get that, because I'd say, well, let's talk about that. It's a $300,000 house that's been on the market for a day. Is that really where you, I mean, these houses are selling in a day. Should we look there? Well, what would you write on it? That's what I would get. What would you write on it? And they would go with what I said, because they trusted me. That's how I was using automation, is I would have all these just done automatically, didn't have to think about it. People were calling me, people were emailing me, people were texting me, not the other way around.